Let's jump into the final segment, and we're going to welcome in, as you can see above me, and I don't know if it's going to be above me for the
this way to
video,
you,
but at least in our group chat, our guy Bilal has joined us.
He's in the corner.
So Bilal's going to be in the upper right. I'm in the lower right. Sean's in the lower left. Dave's on the upper left.
Okay, so if I point over this way,
Other way, other way, Sean. Other way. My right, your left. Yep, that's Bilal.
Okay. All right.
Dave's above you, and I'm to the left also.
So I look down to Sean.
Yep.
Then
Yep. That way, Dave.
Bilal.
Yep.
All right. Let's jump into the final. Let's jump into the final segment, and as you can see, we're going to welcome in our buddy Bilal. He is a $10 patron. If you want to be like Bilal, join at patreon.com/podcast. Bilal threw out a great topic, which we're going to talk about. We're going to give our top 10 players under 25 years old. We had a little bit of a discussion as the Twitch chat could see at twitch.tv/podcast about what were we going to do, 25. If they're 25, would they be included? No. So we're going to be 24 years and younger. We're going to pick the players that we would rank the players that we would pick to start a franchise. I'll start off just because I think I got the gist of it, and maybe if you guys missed any names that you thought you could add them. But I'll start off.
Go 10-1.
All right, we'll go 10-1. I'll start off, and then we'll go to Ricky. Then we'll go to Dave, and then Bilal will go off and tell us what he thinks about our list. So, at 10 for me, I got Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. At 9, I got Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. At 8, I got Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. At 7, I got Ben Simmons of the Philadelphia 76ers. At 6, I got Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans. At 5, I got Karl-Anthony Towns of the T-Wolves. At 4, I got Trae Young of the Hawks. 3, Jason Tatum of the Celtics. 2, Zion Williamson of the Pelicans. And 1, Luka Doncic of the Mavs. Ricky, who do you got?
All right. I thought mine was not going to be spicy at the top, but maybe it is. I did not put Ja Morant on mine, which I was like,
really?
Oh, fuck. So I've got Kristaps Porzingis at number 10. Then Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. at 29. De'Aaron Fox at 29.
Wait.
Jaren Jackson Jr. at 9. I'm mock draft styling it.
There you go.
Then De'Aaron Fox at 8. Cat at 7. Donovan Mitchell at 6. Devin Booker at 5. Trae Young at 4. Zion at 3. Luka at 2. Jason Tatum at number 1.
What? All right,
Okay.
Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Give us your top 10.
Yeah, sure. My top 10. At 10, I've got John. At 9, it's Devin Booker. At 8, it's Trae Young. At 7, it is Ben Simmons. At 6, it's Donovan Mitchell. 5 is Cat. 4 is Zion. 3 is Jason Tatum. 2 is Brandon Ingram. 1 is Luka Doncic.
Damn. All right, Bilal. I think we had lists all over the place. So going off that, is there anything that stood out enough that grabbed your attention on any of those 3 lists?
Yeah. So the first thing is, if you had Mitchell's like very high. That's what I was like. I don't know why that caught my attention, but where Mitchell and where Booker rank the shooting guards in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That's a popular debate right now. I just want to know why do you think Mitchell was better than Booker?
For me, I just look at Donovan Mitchell having the playoff success. He's a two-way player. Devin Booker, like, I love his ability to pass and facilitate with that Phoenix offense, but like, I think it's just years of being stuck on the outside looking in, and Donovan Mitchell was able to make an impact for his team right away and take them to the playoffs. And I'm not saying it's team success is part of it, but it definitely adds. I just think Donovan Mitchell, like, he is the guy who is foot to the floor all the time, like, as a driver. And Devin Booker, we've seen those times where he's just kind of on the court, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that conversation too, I think the biggest thing that I've seen from Booker that I had over Mitchell was Devin Booker doesn't have the help that Donovan Mitchell has. You have Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert, who's given him coronavirus. You have Bojan Bogdanovic out there, who we think is one of the most underrated players in the league. You have Mike Conley. You have a great defensive player in Royce O'Neal. You have Derek Favors, not Derek Favors, early in his career, before Favors left, obviously, the Pelicans. Who's the other player? Joe Ingles. I mean, he has so much help there. And even when Mitchell struggles, he has the ability to get wins because you have other all-stars on this team. Where Booker, you have Ayton who's been out for 25 games because he got suspended for PEDs. Rubio has been injured as well. He finally gets a good team, and everyone seems to be hurt. But Devin Booker's potential and Devin Booker's performance still stays the same. I think if you gave Booker the same help that you gave Mitchell, I think that he'd be succeeding alongside of Mitchell, especially in the
He's
playoffs.
a turnstile.
Yeah, but he's not as good as Mitchell. Isn't as good as an offensive player as Booker is.
But if you're a turnstile, you have to have Gobert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, it's just. I guess it just comes down to. I mean, I don't think it's really a super huge gap, so it's not. I don't really have a problem with that.
I just really like two-way players. I think that's my thing. I will always value a wildly offensive or defensive player. I'm always looking for that kind of who can go both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I looked at mine, with how much shit I've talked about Devin Booker on this podcast. When I had him at 5, I was like, am I being consistent to myself? Am I being true to myself? But for me, I think with my ranking, the top 4 is clear. Clear as day. Tatum, Luka, Zion, and Trey are in my top 4. It's just everyone 5 and below is a crapshoot. You can put them in any order you want, and it's all right, you can at least have an argument for why they should be there, in my mind.
Yeah, to go off that too, Bilal, I got a question for you. I had Trae Young at 4. Ricky had him at 4, I believe, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dave had him at 10. You had him. You had 8. You had him at 8 below Ben Simmons.
Yes.
Where should Trae Young be on this? If you're starting a franchise, is Trae Young in that top 5 range? Where would you put him when you're building the franchise?
Yeah, most definitely top 5. Definitely top 5. It's just because the way the game is built today, shooting and passing and scoring. So the defense, no matter how good it is, it's not gonna win championship. I think that nowadays it was defense wins, but as we can see recently, Kevin Durant play on the same team and just score more than they win. Those teams play defense too, so that's kind of bad. But I just think Trae Young, you have to put him top 5 just because how well he shoots as a season floor. Because he's at a stage right now where he's ahead of guys like Steve Nash and guys like that in his progression. So a player who Steve Nash is potentially a top 5 point guard of all time, you could say potentially. I would say he has to be top 5. He shoots the ball too well. His percentages are low, but mostly that's because of the shot selection he takes. If he was on a team like that, his shot selection will go up dramatically because of his spacing and because of the way they run. And we see when he's taking a wide open shot from 3, catch and shoot, it's usually goes in. So that's what the ability to have a point guard that can score in many different ways and pass the ball like he does. I would say top 5.
Yeah, Bilal, we know you're a Laker guy, so we did have one guy that's a former Laker on all of our lists. Ricky, where'd you have Brandon Ingram?
I did not.
What? Oh, you didn't have Brandon.
That's all what right, after Dave said his, I was like, oh,
I had Ingram at 6.
I left Ingram off.
Dave had Ingram at 2. What's your gauge on Ingram? Where would you put Ingram if you're building on a top 10, or would you put him in that Trae Young category of top 5, or would you have him a little bit lower?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Lower. I'd have him lower. I wouldn't have him top 5. It's just because he's kind of a black hole. And he also doesn't utilize his length on the defensive end as much as I would like him to. So It's just because the top five is just filled with so many guys who I believe that they contribute to winning a lot more. As you can see this year, like even though the team was like there was no Zion, Ingram was still putting up his points, but it wasn't getting any wins. There was Lonzo, there was three guys there that could hoop, but there weren't any wins coming before Zion got there. So it's just to me there's a gap between the impact on winning that one has. Even though Ingram could put ball, he's a scorer. He can score, but he gets in his way where he just puts his head down. And he doesn't know how to make his teammates better. So I think that those two things have to be incorporated on.
See,
Body of work is
understand where you're
huge.
coming from.
In this one, you got it and that's what I'm in my head trying to think. Why did I forget about Brandon Ingram? And the only thing I can think of, except for like Trey, Zion, and Luca, where it's like most of my guys have been in the league a while, are up towards 23, 24, and BI before this year was kind of a question mark. Like we were thinking when he got traded over to the Lakers, when the trade happened, of like, well, we know what his potential could be, but is he ever going to reach it? And no one saw the season we saw this year happening at the beginning of the year.
This guy did.
Did you? I'm gonna pull up our positional rankings right now to see where we had him.
That's fine. But I mean, like, I understand what you're saying. While when you're talking about, his play style doesn't lead to wins directly. They did kind of sit in the middle as a team. They struggled. They've just got so many young players on the team. It's hard to win, which is why I take what he did with this Pelicans team over what Trae Young's done with the Hawks. Like, I get the Hawks are a G League team without Trae Young. Like, they shouldn't even be allowed on the court in the NBA without Trae Young. And the Pelicans would be fine. They'd still survive. They'd be a bad team, but they'd survive without Brandon Ingram. But like, I think he's had an exceptional year, and I think he's right there. He's A and B with like Pascal Siakam. Like, Siakam has better defense, but Ingram's better ISO player. I think they should absolutely be looked at in the same light and in the same vein. I just amazing size. You're right. He doesn't know how to use percent yet, but like, he's still growing. That's what's exciting to me, is the fact that like he's this good at 22. Yeah, 22. I mean, like, can you imagine him in like 2 years when he continues to, like, every year he's been, like, he's gotten much better. His shooting splits are fantastic. His defense is getting better. Like, his court vision and decision making still have some room to grow, but he's already putting up a fantastic stat line at 22. That's why I have to say that you guys got to reconsider BI being higher up.
Yeah, the only reason why I agree with you. Go ahead, Bilal. What's up?
I agree that right now Ingram is clearly better than Ingram is clearly better than Trae Young to me, like, right now. But I think what I was thinking of was going forward in the future, not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, Trae Young right now is younger than Brandon Ingram, and I think that you have a team in Brandon Ingram. I mean, Brandon Ingram's obviously playing for a contract. It also is a better team around him. You said it, Dave. Hawks are playing with a G League team. I think if you had quality NBA players around Trae Young, there's not a better passer in the NBA already. He's not even 20 yet, I think, or he is 20.
Trae Young is literally 1 year younger by like 20 days.
Younger than BI?
Younger than BI.
Yeah, BI is super young.
Yeah, it feels weird.
Right?
Because what? They were 2 years separate in a draft, right? It was the Fultz draft in between them, so
Yeah,
he was pretty much. So it went BI and Ingram, or Simmons and Ingram, and then it went Tatum and Fultz draft, and then it went the Young draft. So thanks for pointing that out. But I think Ingram at least had more time in the NBA. This is only Trae Young's second year in the NBA.
Ingram's fourth.
Ingram's fourth. So at least NBA wise, Ingram's got more years on him there. But still, good argument to at least benefit Brandon Ingram on that side. The one question I have for you, though, Bilal, is I think it was in your original email, and it's going to get us into the conversation of of one player versus another. But if you're building a team, you're building a roster starting from ground one, which player are you taking that is 25 years or that is younger than 25 years old? Who is the guy that you're going after?
Zion Williamson.
There it is.
players. That's
Why
it's
Zion?
really not really difficult for me. So there's so many reasons. Okay, so let's just start with what's happening this season. Um, he basically gets injured in the beginning of the season, and then they drop him into the NBA in the middle of the season when everyone's in the swing of things. And he gets dropped his rookie year and just immediately comes in the league and is killing the league off right away. Right away, he's unguardable one-on-one. You can't stop him. He's already a player and he's doing this, and he's not even in shape. Like, he's not even in shape like he was at Duke right now. If you look at the Duke highlights on YouTube, he's nowhere near that level. He's like 290 right now. Like he's doing this. Just people who watch the Lakers will understand this. When Julius Randle got drafted to the Lakers, he was pretty bad. Like the first year, we were like, "What's going on with this guy?" He goes, has an offseason where he just gets in shape and just eats better and just works out more, and he comes back and he's more ripped, and he's able to give you those bursts of Julius Randle, but he can do it longer throughout the game. So what we're seeing right now from Zion is not even close to what he could be right now if he was fully in shape. It's not even close to what he would be if he would work on his skill set a lot more. Like, he still has to work on his handle. He still has to work on his jump shot. A lot of things he can get better at. Like, the ceiling is just so high for Zion, even though he's already killing right now. And when you look at the players who are the best players of all time, you talk about these elite athletes. There's LeBron. There's Michael Jordan. We're talking about these Kobe Bryant. We're talking about these players who are physically freaks. These are the guys that more than likely players that can play from the wing and also have a post-up game. These players are the players who take you to the promised land, mostly a guy like Larry Bird. So in that stance, I'm going to go with the guy who has attributes of being a physical freak, as well as having touch around the basket and an IQ at the same time. So I'm going.
Yeah, Ricky Bilal picked
baby
the same
Shaq
guy
out
as you. Oh yeah, Ricky Bilal picked the same guy as you. So defend Zion on this before we go to Dave.
So
Talk about Baby Shaq.
The thing I'm thinking about after hearing you guys talking, mainly Bilal, is I said it during the draft. I said that I see Zion as, once LeBron leaves, and maybe Giannis might push this a little bit to where it doesn't happen right away, but I see Zion being eventually the best player in the NBA, where we are looking at him with that title. But the thing I can't help but look at is my top three, which I think we all have the same three guys in the top three. I don't think Dave did. But like, I look at Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and Zion Williamson. And all three of those guys, to me, like, if I'm building around a franchise, same question you asked Bilal, I'm taking Zion, and then it's either a toss-up between Luka or Tatum. Maybe Luka just because he's younger. But if you're going off of right now, their ability, like, it's a toss-up. Like, you could have, in my mind, those three guys ordered in any order that you want, and it's not asinine to have, like, Zion over them, or Jason Tatum at the top, or Luka at the top, because they're all great players and all have, even Tatum being the oldest one, they all have very, very high ceilings for their NBA careers.
Dave, you want to jump in?
So I'm the odd man out, but I already hit on that point.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, Zion is literally just Baby Shaq out there. It's disgusting what he's able to do.
Well, we got to see it in person. Like, that
Yep.
Kevin Knox rip away. I know I talk about it way too much, but like, to see that in person and go,
Yep.
whoa, Kevin Knox is like, he ain't some young rook that came in with Zion. Like, he's been in the league, and Zion.
He's still doing it now. He did it like twice already during the regular season.
Yeah, he has.
Like, if he gets two hands on the ball, like, he's getting.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like, I absolutely love him. I love his game. He is a force of nature down that low post. Like, you get the ball in his hands, and he has room for one dribble, you're fucked. You're like, good luck as a center trying to guard that. But I can't help but think, like, Luka Doncic, how he's the most polished professional to start in the NBA as of last year. And this year he's putting up like 28, 9, and 8. Like, come on, I'm sorry. He is one of the best ball handlers. He's one of the best facilitators. He can rebound well because he has good size. He's incredibly smart. He's been in all the clutch situations.
Was in the MVP discussion.
A 16, 17, 18-year-old in the EuroLeague. Like, it is so hard for me to pass up on somebody like that. And I think it's just I value the guy who the ball is going to be in his hands most, and that's why I have to take Luka over Zion. I respect Zion, and me having him at 4, maybe he jumped Jason Tatum. Probably he jumped Jason Tatum. Bi, I'm not sure yet. That's a toss up, but I mean he's definitely in there. Sean,
Yeah, I think with Luka, the biggest thing, if we're talking about starting a franchise, Zion Williamson can be a dominant player on his own, but I think the biggest thing that I look at is when it comes to the end of the game, and this is something that has hurt the Mavericks, so maybe this isn't the best argument to at least help me, but I think when it comes to the end of the game and you need to win a close game, Luka's going to put your team in the best position just due to his ability to ball handle. And yet, I think Zion will make more of an impact on the other side of the floor. He's a better defender without a doubt, but I think the biggest thing that Luka gives you is the ability to win night in and night out because he can control so many variables of the offense. I don't know if Zion's ever going to be a guy that brings up the ball and starts to initiate an offense. I think he's going to be worked in and be a part of an offense and probably be the main focal point of an offense, but he can't start, and I don't think he can initiate a main and large part of that offense. We saw back at Duke, it was Trey Jones or it was RJ Barrett. Like, we didn't see Zion as a guy that was continuously initiating offense. And in some ways, he can initiate offense off of his defense, making a block, jumping out and making a steal, then, bringing the ball up and creating fast break points. But I think overall, Luka's still good at that as well. Maybe not, as impactful defensively, but he's great starting fast break runs as well. So I just think that Luka's impact when he has the ball in his hands is much greater than what Zion's can be, even if he fully fleshes out his game. I don't think that Zion's ever going to be a guy that is a initiator offensively, where Luka already is and already is showing that he's an MVP candidate doing that. So I would lean Luka for that reason. But again, Zion's a freak. We see the immediate impact that he has in the first 14, 15, 16 games that he's played in the NBA so far, dropping 22 and 10. But I think overall, Luka is my guy because we talk about how important that wing position is. We talk about how important those initiators are. I think he could be a true number one guy, and Luka would be my pick just for that reason. But if you're picking Zion, I really can't be mad just because he is such a freak, like you were talking about, Bilal. Is there anything holding back Luka Doncic in your mind from being the number one overall, or is it just Zion being that good, Bilal?
So I think that right now Luka's better than Zion. Like, as of this season, I would concede that right now Luka is better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of why I phrased it in terms of going forward, because I don't really see how much better Luka can get. That's how much better do you get? What is he averaging right now? I don't know. But it's
28, 9, and 8, or 8 and 9. Yeah.
Has a punt ever done that?
In their second year, I don't think that they've ever done it in their second year. No.
He's a 28, 8, and 9. Yeah, on 31% from 3 and 46% from the field.
That's what can get better. His percentages can get better. People get so scared of his step back three when he doesn't even hit it really that much.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's demoralizing. Because when he hits it, the whole team just
yeah.
It's like, oh my god, but and then they fall for the step back, and he just makes you look stupid, like he did Drew Holiday. I think a month. He made Drew Holiday look like he was just bad on defense.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So,
two players have ever done 27, 8 and 8. It's Luka and Oscar Robertson in their second year.
Like how much? Okay, so what are we expecting next year from Luka Doncic? We're expecting 35, 10 and 10.
I mean, he's basically James Harden, but in year 2 instead of.
Yeah. So yeah, I just see that there's so much room for improvement in Zion's game, and I don't really see that. I don't see as much room for improvement in Luka's game. He's already, to me, reached like Hall of Fame level play right now. He's already playing like a Hall of Fame player. he's playing like a top 10 player of all right now.
Yeah.
The number, the stat wise, not the percentages, maybe not so, but I think that he will get better as a shooter. He's just he has a different form. He'll get better as a free throw shooter. He'll get better. He'll get stronger. His body will change a little, so he'll be better on defense. So, but I think that Zion has more room. I have a question. So, I heard someone say that you can't be the best player in the league if you can't do everything. So I think it was like Jay Will said, like, if you can't shoot, pass, dribble, you can't be the best player. So does that mean Shaq was never the best player in the league? Like what does that mean?
True, but it was a different game back then where, we see the importance and how much we've switched from, early 2000s where Shaq was the guy, being what he was doing. He still needed, I think now if we still had Shaq would still need a point guard to get it to him. I mean, we haven't seen a big man led team win the finals since I think Tim Duncan in the Spurs. So it's been a while since that type of game has been implemented.
Shaq, though, to me, if you were going to consider him the best in the NBA, small window.
Which he was.
Small window, but a small window because, like, the Orlando Magic days and early Laker days, you're not considering him the best in the NBA because he's playing with Jordan. Right after that, the young Kobe days, you definitely could. And also, Sean, you're right, it was a different NBA, but, like, Kobe then took that from him, I would say, and then
Shaq was a better player.
No. Like when Kobe got older, and then Shaq did leave, Kobe took that mantle from him, and then LeBron took that mantle from Kobe, to where I feel like once Kobe took that away from Shaq never got it back.
Yeah, so we're just talking about a small window from 1903, where he was the best player in the NBA, just 6 years.
From when you cut out there, what window were you looking at?
98 to 03.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just like 5 years where he was the best player in the NBA. Nothing big,
And he did that to himself. He ate too much. Didn't work out.
Yeah. I say, seriously.
Guys don't look at their health like they do now.
Nah.
If he cared about his body as much as LeBron did, he would have dominated the league for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the funniest things. If you had my work ethic, like, you'd be the greatest of all time.
So,
and, like, Shaq just knows it. It was one of those cons that just ate him up inside. He's like, other interests. So
King E in Twitch chat right now says Zion is Shaq, Luka is MJ.
No, stop it. No one's MJ.
He said Zion is Shaq, Luka is MJ.
Guy used to fly.
Yeah, so
I'd pay Luka Doncic to jump from the free throw line and see how far he gets.
But no,
there's no way that's happening.
On the Zion being baby Shaq, and 23 points, 14 boards on like 56% though. And I know like the rebounding number is gonna be different because Shaq was 7-1 and Zion's like 6-7, but like 23 points on 56 from the field, and then his next year he went up to 29 on 60%. And I think we're going to see something similar out of Zion next year. I think he is going to be like a just shy of a 30-point a game scorer on like 60% from the field. Like, he's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's entirely possible. Let's get some final thoughts. Ricky, I'll start with you, then we'll go to Dave, and then we'll have Bilal finish it up. Any final thoughts about this, whether it be Zion, Luka, Brandon Ingram, any of the guys that we missed, any guys you want to give a shout out to that you think maybe we should be talking about, some of these younger players, maybe even Jason Tatum?
I mean,
you had him fairly high.
With my final thoughts, I'm going to bring in a great man from Twitch chat in Soapy, one of our patrons who, one guy we didn't talk about, but he had mentioned that Luke Kennard is MJ. So, I mean, Luke Kennard, someone we did not talk about, wanted to give some love there, and that'll be my final thoughts.
You know what? We did not talk about
Luke Kennard is MJ, baby.
That's fair. I had a guy who was just on my outside in Domantas Sabonis. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I love him. Like the whole start of franchise with this sort of thing that held me back a little bit. But he was like this close to edging out John Morant, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of final thoughts.
Shout out Ricky for putting Chris Porzingis in the list.
He's hurt all the damn time.
Doesn't mean he's not good.
True.
But if we're starting a franchise, do you want the guy who's got bad knees,
I put him at 10.
7 feet tall?
And there's 9 other guys I'd take before him.
I'm not trying to start a fight and attack people. I'm just. Whew.
I've just been watching KP recently. He's been killing.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Really making
Yeah.
it. God damn.
Yeah.
And I want to give a little bit of talk about Ja Morant and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons still not able to shoot a 3, but he's still massively impactful both offensively and defensively. But Ja Morant too, if he learns to land, he might be higher than Trae Young at some point. So, but we got to give a shout out to Bilal. Thank you for joining us during this quarantine time. We appreciate you, and we hope you and your family are staying safe, man.
It's an awesome topic too.
Yeah, fun topic. Fun time, and we appreciate the video cam as well. So that's going to wrap it up for the Fast Break Podcast. For Bilal, we appreciate his time. We appreciate his patronage. We appreciate everyone in the Twitch chat at twitch.tv/Podcast. We appreciate all of our patrons as well. Thank you very much. But for Sean Anderson, that's Dave Oster somewhere. That's Ricky Widmer, and that's Bilal. We're going to sign off and say thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Peace.